Y a ustedes los quiero invitar, la próxima exposición también va a ser en inglés, así que recuerden que ahí tenemos el apoyo de auriculares. Va a ser breve, ¿eh? No se la pierdan, porque tras analizar el impacto de la inteligencia artificial y los datos en la gestión pública que hemos visto aquí, bueno, lo que viene a continuación va a ofrecer una visión estratégica sobre cómo estos debates forman parte de una conversación global, ¿verdad? Y necesaria, que está redefiniendo el futuro de las ciudades, y sobre el papel de Santiago y de Chile dentro de este ecosistema internacional de innovación urbana. Chile en la conversación global sobre las ciudades inteligentes es el título. Quiero presentarles a Ignacio Bugueño, jefe de la Unidad Regional de Relaciones Internacionales, quien va a presentar a nuestra invitada Sandra Baer, Brand Ambassador de SmartCities World y CEO de Personal Cities, con una amplia trayectoria internacional asesorando a ciudades y líderes urbanos en estrategias de Smart Cities, innovación y calidad de vida. Ignacio, ¿estamos? Adelante. Recibamos con un aplauso a Ignacio. Ignacio nos va a presentar entonces a su invitada internacional.
Muchas gracias. Voy a hacer esta presentación en inglés para que entienda nuestra expositora, que va a estar en inglés esta presentación. So, good day. When we hear the concept of smart city, most of us project a kind of sci-fi image. Millions of sensors, traffic lights, giant screens, and predictive algorithms is kind of the graphic mood of this event as well. But allow me to be a bit provocative this afternoon. A city full of fiber optic cables and state-of-the-art cameras that fail to reduce the time of commute to work, or that doesn't narrow the inequality gap between the district, is not really a smart city. It is quite simply a city with expensive gadgets. So from the government of Santiago, we believe that true urban intelligence isn't technological, it's relational. It lies in our capacity to articulate the public sector, the private enterprise, and the citizens themselves, so that technology becomes a tool for dignity rather than an end in itself. At this turning point, Chile cannot settle for merely importing solutions. We have the human capital and the drive to be active protagonists on the global paradiplomacy chessboard. And precisely to understand our place in this ecosystem, we are joined today by someone who has dedicated her career to humanizing this conversation. Sandra Baer, who is a leader at Smart Cities World, has traveled the globe advising urban leaders with a radical premise, that the most innovative cities in the world build trust before they build software. Her vision on how digital connectivity must nurture social inclusion has made her an indispensable voice worldwide. So today she brings us a presentation that is simultaneously a diagnosis and a challenge, and we're very glad to have her here today. Sandra, the Santiago stage is now yours. Please, an applause for her.
Gracias, Ignacio. Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. I'm so glad you stayed. I know that some of you may have had to leave, but this is an honor for me to be here today. I think what's happening here in Santiago is, as I say, at the forefront of global innovation. Do you know that? How many of you are from Santiago? How many of you live in a city? Okay, so the last panel that you heard, how many of you were here for the last panel? Oh, good. I hope you learned something. I certainly did. And I think the message there was what's next. How many of you are wondering what's next? Say yes. You're all wondering what's next. And I think, in case you don't know the statistics, 7 of 10 people in the world in 2050 will live in a city. So it's our responsibility, it's our opportunity to really work with cities, to collaborate, to make them smarter and better and regenerate. There's so much more to do today. So I want you to think about what I'm going to talk about today with you, and if you have questions, I'd love to hear your questions. I have a translator so I can hear your Spanish, just in case. Urban regeneration, that's what I think. It's a new era of urbanism around the world. It's happening everywhere. And I can, although my first time in Santiago, I can tell that there's a spirit of energy here. There's a spirit of wanting to get new changes and make a difference in the world. And I think, I want you to know that your opportunity to reimagine this city and cities across Latin America is right here, right now. So look at these ideas. These are sort of the tests, if you will. Are you a smart city, or can you become a smart city? Are you using advanced technology? How many of you use AI? How many of you want to use AI? Yeah. Well, I think the idea is that it's starting, it's emerging, it's evolving. You heard that last panel say. It's changing the way we work, the way we live, the way we play, how we travel, how we educate ourselves. It's pervasive. So using advanced technology is reshaping your world, and I think the trick is to get with that program for sure. Climate adaptation. What are the big issues for cities around the world? Number one is climate. Climate adaptation, the ability to mitigate the challenges of climate today, whether it's drought or flooding or heat. I just came from Washington, D.C., my home. It's 38 degrees. Different here in Santiago. Thank you very much. I'm thrilled to be here for that. But I guess the idea that Washington would have that hot of a bunch of summer days is a new era for many cities across the world. So climate adaptation, that's a part of what you can do to reimagine your future. Collaboration. I think I heard every panelist at the previous meeting talk about collaboration, and the trick is it's new. How many of you know this term, public-private partnership? Oh, come on, you've got to know this term. Anyway, my idea is that it's passé. We've got to go way beyond just public and private partnership. What about all the academics? What about the startups? What about the young people in the world? What about the activists? What about just everyday people that need to be involved in collaborating to make decisions for the future of your city? And the final thing is trust. In my opinion, trust is the foundation of civilization. I happen to be writing a book about it, which I'll share with you once it's out. My point is that trust has to be built. It has to be earned. And if you're living and working in a city, you better have trust with your coworkers, with your company, with your government. Trust has to be pervasive. So I think that's sort of the idea, that these ideas are all working together to build a future smart city. I wanted to give you some examples around the world. I wanted to let you know what's happening in other places where smart cities are also evolving. Singapore's a great example. Anybody been? It's a very good. It's a very small nation state constrained by its geography, right? I mean, it can't grow out. I think Santiago could keep spreading out, couldn't it? As it already has, perhaps. But Singapore is constrained by its physical geography. And what does it do? Instead of growing out, it grows up. In fact, many of the buildings in Santiago, if you go there, be sure to notice every building has vertical gardens. Every building has rooftop gardens. They are very keen to use nature to accelerate how closely they are connected to nature. And they're figuring out how to do it on these tall buildings that they keep constructing. So it's a good idea to think about what are your physical, what are your data constraints as you become a smart city. Helsinki's a great example too. Who knows about the culture of Helsinki? It's a culture of honesty, very trusting, very trusting society that will sort of look to their citizenry. They won't do any kind of program without testing it with the citizens first. This is such a good idea. Most cities don't do that, I have to say, but I recommend that they do it. You know, this whole idea that transparency builds trust. So how transparent is Santiago? Do you know what's going on in the city? Do you feel like the government is communicating well to you? Well, we'll get that answer later in more detail. But I do think that Helsinki is a good example of really being transparent and out there and open, letting people know what's going on in the city. People need that. Rotterdam. Anybody been to Rotterdam? Here's this. Yeah. Some of you have traveled all over the world, I can tell. Here's the statistic for Rotterdam. 90% of Rotterdam is at sea level or below. So what does Rotterdam do? How do they adapt? How do they handle this imminent sea level rise? And when they have storms, what do? They have this thing called water squares. If you go to Rotterdam, be sure and ask about that. Water squares are big parcels of land that are like playgrounds and parks and recreation areas. And guess what happens when the storms come? They become reservoirs. Is that clever or what? So they take these water squares and use them for public gathering spots. And then when the bad weather comes, when the storms come, they open up like a big Eiffel Tower on its side and let the water in. And then the water is dispersed after the storm. I mean, these things are very smart. I hope I'm impressing you with that idea. Medellin. Many of you have been to Medellin, yes? Say yes, maybe? It's really such a green city. If you go there, you see nature everywhere. This is a very important part of being a smart city, is being nature-based. In other words, it's not always about technology. It's about making people feel like, I love living in this city. The gardens, the flowers, the green is everywhere. And it makes me feel closer to nature and to just a calmer way of living, perhaps. And Medellin is famous for that, so be sure and see that when you visit. Cape Town, South Africa, had an amazing zero water event, I think in 2017, 2018, in that time frame. They were out of water, just gone. They didn't have water. They were finding tons of trucks to come in with bottles of water because they had no drinking water out of fountains. Can you imagine it? I mean, this is serious. So they were very clever, however, in sort of reconstituting conservation. Conserve water. You know, you don't need to take a 20-minute shower. You can take one for 3 minutes. That was a very minor example of how they did conservation, but they were very good at sort of reimagining what is it like to not have water and how can we make sure that the people in our city have enough water to drink. And they built sort of new relationships. I mean, it's really about resilience. How do you handle this problem of the lack of water? What are the two big problems in cities all over the world? Anybody? Water and heat. Think about it. Not enough water, dirty water, too much water, too hot, too cold. We're all living through all this, so I hope we can take lessons from cities like Cape Town. Baer in Mozambique in Africa is also a really good example. They were nominated by the Bloomberg Resilient Cities organization because they were really trying to help all of the citizens that had lost their livelihood. The fishing community, the fish were no longer available to be fished. So what were these people going to do for a living and where were they going to live? And Baer did a very good job of relocating people and figuring out, you know, where can they go as immigrants to another place where they can still have a good livelihood. These are really important lessons, and I probably have another 20 cities I could talk to you about, but I wanted you to get a sense that it's not just about technology, it's about the physical, the the environment in which you live. Can you make it a smarter city? And it is the challenge for Santiago. It's the challenge all over the world, but especially today here in Santiago at this amazing meeting, I want you to think about it. So here are 5 tests to see if you are a future-ready city, okay? Think about this. First of all, do you anticipate problems? Are you aware that a flood is coming? Are you aware that wildfires are a risk? Is this a problem that you can anticipate and plan for? How do you deal with severe flooding? Every year in India, many of the cities in India get completely flooded, and people die. What are they doing now to be sort of future ready in anticipating that demand? The second thing is integration. Can you integrate AI, climate, mobility, transport, health, education? Can you integrate all of these issues? Because in fact, they are all integrated. They're all connected. So try to not just think about one thing to solve, one problem to solve. Look at the bigger picture. Look across all the silos that so many cities continue to have, and see if you can see the interconnections, the integration of those. Transparency, of course, this is my number one pet peeve. Why don't we do a better job of communicating what's going on? Why don't you hear more from your city leaders? Why don't you hear more from your business leaders? Why don't they tell you? I mean, as you walk around the expo here, are you curious about what some of these companies are doing? And talk to them, ask them questions, push back on what they're doing. Are they developing a product that nobody really needs? Well, of course they're not doing that. Of course, all of the sponsors here are doing exactly what we hope they will do. But my point is that the transparency of that is really important. Collaboration, I've already talked a bit about that, but there are new collaborations that include much more than just government and private sector. So reach out to your universities, reach out to the people that are speaking up in a community, community leaders. Work with them. The last one is about being inclusive. My other really strong passion today is that we re-engage youth, that we listen to young people, that we honor what they're saying. I told several people here that my 10-year-old grandson, who happens, forget that, my 10-year-old grandson who happens to live in Italy knows more technology than I do. And how did that happen? And how am I paying attention to what he's doing? Am I listening to him? Because especially young people, age 14 to 25, how many of you are under 25 here? Oh, I'm glad you're here. But there aren't enough of you here, and that's my opinion. And I think, it's not that everybody can afford to come to this meeting, but the more we engage young people, the more we listen to them, they can design our future. And in fact, they're inheriting it. So we better listen to them. Okay, this is, I think, the most important slide. Take a picture of this if you're taking a picture of anything. These are questions for you to think about. These are things that could move you to action. I go to so many city meetings where they talk about the problem. Just keep talking about it and keep talking about how it's difficult. Stop doing that. Stop coming up with actionable ideas. The first one, can we treat climate adaptation as essential infrastructure? This is not something that's just occasionally happening. Climate adaptation, what's the best adaptation to climate? It's to move. To move from where you live to somewhere else. And in fact, last year, over 800 million people had to move from where they live to somewhere else because of climate and conflict. So the conflict thing is another topic. But I guess my point is that people are moving because they need to, they can't stay where they are living. The drought, the extreme weather has affected their ability to stay where they live. Can we make AI human-centered? I think there was not quite enough talk about that, Eleanor, at the last panel. about being human-centered, the guardrails, the ethical AI, everything to do with humane business should be top of mind for each of you. If you start to use AI, make sure you're still being creative and thoughtful and ethical in your use of AI, and make sure that the companies you deal with are being are making it human-centered. I won't read all of these for you, but and I mentioned the thing about can we invite youth to the table, but the last element is really important to me about trust. How many of you trust your government? Okay. Why? Think about why you don't trust your government. Think about what you could do to maybe communicate with them. You know, ask them questions, get some answers. I think we really need to measure trust, and we need to make sure that it's that you're trusting and that you're trustworthy, by the way. I think I'm out of time. Am I out of time? We're okay. We're out of time. Okay. This is the Santiago Challenge, and this is what I want each of you to do. Before you leave this meeting, say yes that you're going to do this. Say yes. Thank you, sir. Learn from one city. There's people from all over the world here. Thanks to Fira, Barcelona, this is just an incredible audience of smart, city-interested people. So learn from one of them. Ask them a question. Find out why they're successful, or find out what their problems are. Number 2, build one new collaboration. Find a in your business life, in your work life, in your family life, find a new collaborator. You can do this. Third thing, invite youth into the decision-making process. If you can get high school kids, college kids to start talking to you about AI, about climate, about homelessness, about poverty, you name it, they have ideas about that. So engage with them, and of course commit to building trust. This is so important. Thank you so much for listening. Call me, write me, let me know what you think, because I really believe a smart city is not just about technology, it's about your ability to anticipate, to collaborate, to trust each other. Thank you so much. Ignacio, do you have time to come up?
Thank you, Sandra. We're a little out of time, so we cannot have some questions.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, go ahead.
No, please. No, I just wanted to do some closing remark. Like, I wanted to take 2 keywords from what you said. Those are trust and how we work in resilience, like how we take the example that you gave in Singapore of Rotterdam of the flooding, how we don't fight against the climate, but we use it to our advantage. So
right.
Just very fast, like maybe take these 2 lessons and bring it to Santiago and to South America. How would you do that? Taking a look at this
is Santiago resilient or becoming more resilient? Who says yes? Who says no? Yes, go ahead. Why? Speak up. A microphone. All right. Go ahead.
So professional. It's not. Now, yes? No.
See.
Yes? Well, I think Santiago is more resilient because of this rain, because of the earthquakes. I think the private sector, the construction enterprises, I think they have the professionality, the techniques, the technology to be resilient.
Yes.
For earthquakes, for example. I don't think we are very resilient for rains because we are seeing in these weeks, but it's a problem, a current problem. But I think we are resilient in earthquakes. Majority.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, you know, my thought is you have the money, you have the technology, you have the political will. We should be able to solve these problems. But what you had a very bad rainstorm recently, last week, or what happened? Big flooding?
not too much in Santiago, but Santiago is the capital, so
Yeah.
we have problems, and we are probably the most prepared in the entire country.
There you
So
go.
if we have problems, of course, the regions and the rural cities or other cities or other capitals, but in the regions, have the most difficult problems.
Yes, thank you. Sir, why don't you tell us why it's not resilient? Get a mic to this gentleman, please.
Santiago is divided in 52 municipalities. So you from one street to the other is a different city.
Oh,
Systems don't talk to each other.
oh,
We don't have a 911. So if you have a problem, an emergency, you don't know where to call. So there's some basic stuff still doesn't work.
yes, yes, yes. That's very interesting. Go ahead. Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, one street doesn't talk to the other. That's crazy, isn't it? Go ahead.
No, there is 52 districts.
Yes.
And one, you cross the street from one
One to
avenue
the
to
other.
the other, a different district,
Oh.
and systems don't talk to each other.
Are those districts like small cities within the city?
Right.
Yes. I
With
see.
their own leadership.
Wow. Well, work on that, Santiago.
Sandra, we're out of time.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. But thank you for challenging us to look beyond the obvious technology and the screen.
Absolutely.
And thank you for being a part of this Smart City Expo 2026
Oh.
Santiago de Chile.
It's such a
Thank-
pleasure. Thank you all, and
Thank you for
keep
being
up the
here.
good work. Santiago's it. I've got it. I'm deeming it it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Sandra, y gracias, Ignacio, por esta última conversación, esta última charla. Queridos amigos, de esta manera estamos poniendo fin a la jornada del día de hoy. Damos las gracias a todos por habernos acompañado. Les recordamos que mañana, 24 de julio, las sesiones comienzan aquí mismo a las 10 de la mañana con el keynote de Su Excelencia Reverendísima el Cardenal Fernando Chomalí. Los esperamos a todos y que tenga un muy buen resto de esta tarde. Gracias.
In a love so strong, I like to be certain that nothing could go wrong. I like to be faithful to every word you say. I like to be grateful for every single day. I'm in desperate straits. You know I can't go on. My mind it separates when the feeling's gone, and all of my heroes and my idols have gone. All of my brothers and my sisters have moved on.